I'm just busy living so busy living so busy living sober. It's episode 426. How is everybody this Wednesday, March 13th? Is life just flying by or what? It's like crazy. Speed Gonzalez by. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're back and you're a regular, so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And a shout out to everybody. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube or sign up for my newsletter. Go to my website. All the links are in the description that go along with this podcast. So go sign up for my newsletter. It'll come directly into your inbox on Friday. So it's pretty exciting stuff. And what else do I have to say? What other work do I have to say? Oh, I'm a certified recovery coach, wellness and health coach, and a life coach. So I hope this finds you some peace, some happiness today. I hope this helps you out. Maybe not feel so crazy. Because I'm going to tell you, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, is it me or am I the only one that realizes that alcohol is not good for you? Am I the only one that sees that? I don't think so. I don't think I'm the only one. But there's a lot of people out there that you're just like, really? Really? You're going to act like that? Really? I went to get my hair done and I love my salon. But one of the people was definitely that was going to cut my hair totally hungover. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And, I was like, "Did you have fun?" And I went on a Saturday, which I normally don't go. And, she was like, "Yeah, I went out last night." You know that look of somebody who's been out last night? They're like, "I went out last night. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna die. I feel terrible." I'm like, you know, I used to hear this phrase all the time. If you're going to run with the dogs, you better be able to soar with the eagles the next day." And I'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die." And I'm not trying to make this person feel bad if she even listens, but it's not to make her feel bad. I mean, I've been there, done that, totally, totally have been there and been totally hungover. I mean, I've been at church and people have been like, oh my God, what did you do last night? You so smell bad. So I understand it, but at the same time, I feel like we're in 2024 and so many people are talking about how sobriety is so good for you, how bad alcohol is for you. But they continue to go out and just annihilate their bodies. And I say that because I used to annihilate my body all the time. It was like my big thing, right? I was like a weekend warrior. It came Friday and it was like, what time is it? It's time to have cocktails yet? And then Saturday be hungover and then not waiting till I could drink again. Or I would just have to be dead the entire day, the entire day. And if I had plans that night, sometimes I'd have to cancel because I was so hungover. I was hungover I went to the hospital for a hangover. I mean, drinking and me, I was so allergic to it, but I had no idea. I had no idea. I just thought, oh, I just get really drunk. I didn't realize that I had an allergy that by the time I have one cocktail, I have 47, and then I'm in the bag. I don't remember anything. I do things. I go in and out of blackouts. I make really bad decisions, really bad choices. And I'm like, okay, and nobody almost 18 years ago was talking about getting sober as a good thing for you. It was kind of like only people that get sober are losers. Like, why? You must be a total fall down drunk to be getting sober. It wasn't like, oh, you have a problem drinking. And I hadn't gotten to some places where I see people today that they have to get to. And I think that's a total individual thing, by the way, how far down the scale you need to go before you decide to quit. But for me, my elevator did not have to stop at the ground floor, which to me is death or institutions in jail. Yet it hadn't gotten there yet, is the operative word. Hadn't gotten there yet, but I was definitely on the way and I didn't want to get there. So I quit. But I was not like, there weren't like all these people on Instagram going, I'm sober curious, I'm doing this, I'm getting on TV, I'm talking about how sober I am, how great of a lifestyle it is. All these celebrities, Miley Cyrus just came out and she's like, she's been sober, I don't know how long, but I just know that a lot of people relate to celebrities getting sober. That was not for me. I understand. I have had the I don't know if it's privilege. I know some actors and I know some actresses, and they're no different than us. Um, in fact, that's their job. It does not make them better than you. It's just what they're good at. But society wants to say that if you're an actor or an actress or an athlete, that you're like on this higher plane than we are, but they're not. So that didn't really like encourage me or not encourage me. I've worked with a bunch of women through the years that were like, oh, I got to see this celebrity's getting sober. That means that I can get sober. And I'll be like, oh, okay. That's your parameter and it helps you. Good. Go for it. That's awesome. If the fact that Miley Cyrus or Anthony Hopkins or Robert Downey Jr. or whoever it is that's out there that's sober, and Elizabeth Vargas, like her story came out and it was like, oh my gosh, look at this. Elizabeth Vargas has got this story that's so unbelievably compelling. And I'm always like, yeah, well, I've heard that same story that Elizabeth Vargas told by a girl who lives right down the street from me. Now, is she on TV? No, but she's still an amazing person. She might not have a bank account that looks like that, but it doesn't make her any better. But the girl down the street has the same exact story as Elizabeth Vargas. And so maybe do you. Does that mean I don't know. It's like great that she got sober. I'm really excited for her, but you shouldn't put her above you or below you. She's the same as you. And if she's on this path, be psyched for her. And if you're like, oh my gosh, she did it, and you can use the fact that she's a star to help you get to the next level, go for it. For me, that wasn't the case. It wasn't like, oh, this person that's sober is the celebrity is sober. I'm like, great, good for them. I need to do this for me. I need to do this for me. I need to not wake up in the morning anymore feeling like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I say? And I feel like society today, there's like this total weird phenomenon going on. I don't know if you can relate to this, but it's like either the people are coming out going, I don't want to drink. We have people like Dr. Jordan Peterson, who's an amazing psychiatrist from Canada, who says that like the worst thing you can do for yourself is drink. It gives you cancer. It's horrible for your brain. It's horrible for your cells. It's horrible for your skin. It's horrible for aging. It's got like, there's like, if you were to do a category of what alcohol is good for, there would be probably nothing in that category for the pros. Now, the cons of what it's not good for you about, and this is again through years and years and more research that we go through, that we realize that alcohol, there's no pros to it. There's no pros. The cons is like, I think the list when maybe I got sober 20 years ago, almost 20, whatever, 18 years ago, but 17 and a half years ago, the cons list wasn't as bad as it is now. Today, there's even more cons than there were then. And so we sit here and we look at this and we're like, oh my gosh, look at all these cons. But then, and how bad it is for you, right? So we've got all this stuff that like alcohol is like worse for you than smoking. I don't know if it's worse than smoking cigarettes or if it's on the same par, but it's because alcohol companies are so popular and drinking is like put up here, like, look at this celebrity who got fall down drunk. Look at the way the housewives, I'm going to call it the housewives right now because I think it's really kind of sad how the housewives, and I've watched them for years. I feel like Andy Cohen, I mean, his cousin was in my class in high school. He grew up in St. Louis. I grew up in St. Louis. He's a year above me. He went to the rival public school, Clayton. I went to Ladue. And I felt like, oh my gosh, he's a Cardinals fan. I was so excited to watch him. And I've watched him through the years and through the years and through the years. And as I've watched it through the years, it has gotten more and more and more deplorable. It's like literally watching a car accident on the side of the road. The way that the people talk to each other, there's no love, there's no kindness. People are getting divorced and telling the entire society on TV, they're sitting down with their family with one of the most for me, I remember when I was getting divorced, sitting down with my family and telling them I'm getting divorced. Can you imagine doing that on TV? Really? You want the whole world to witness one of the darkest times in your entire life? Okay, that doesn't make sense. One plus one does not equal two here, unless it's about money, I guess. Fame. You want to be famous because you broke up your marriage on TV. Good for you. Your entire family sitting in this living room crying, and this is a great thing I want to put on TV. Okay. And she's sober? I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird. We live in the most weird society. It's like all this dark, dark, dark. But then there's these people that are kind of trying to show the light, which I feel like we've got to focus on more of the light. The fact that Miley Cyrus is like, I know that when I drank, I made really bad decisions. I made really bad decisions. I can relate to that. Can you? I made really bad decisions. If I weren't drinking, would I have made those decisions? Probably not. Probably not. I would not have made those decisions. That's when I realized it was like, wait a minute, if I'm making all these really bad decisions and I'm drinking, maybe I shouldn't drink. And the worst for me was waking up and going, "Oh my god, I feel so bad. What did I do? What did I say?" Again, there weren't cell phones like there are today, so I couldn't go back through my history and say, "Who did I text? What did I say? Did I post anything on social media?" Thank God there was no social media. Thank God there were no cameras. But I mean, not cameras like there are today. And but I feel like we have these people that go around and go, "I'm like so hungover." You're like supposed to say, "Oh, I feel sorry for you." Oh, I'm sorry. You decided to annihilate your body the day before you had to work. Like, am I supposed to feel bad for you? I kind of look at you like kind of today, not in a judgmental way, but in kind of like it's sad. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I got sober at 37. I wished I had gotten sober sooner. Like, that's my only regret is that I hadn't done it sooner. It's the craziest thing. I don't regret, like, oh, I wish I gotten stayed out there and gotten drunk longer. I wish I had more years that I didn't remember. I really wish I did have that. Wouldn't that be amazing if I could have just kept drinking for a longer period of time? I'm sure my bottom would have looked uglier than it already looked for me. Now, this is my opinion of myself. What you think about me is really none of my business. It's how I feel about myself. And if I don't want to go around going, oh my gosh, I feel so bad and I'm so hungover, and nobody feels sorry for you. Nobody feels sorry for you. You're like, well, wait a minute, you did it yourself. And the craziest thing is this disease, because it is a disease, is rampant in the world. Rampant. There are more people dying of alcoholism than anything else, and drug addiction, overdoses, than anything else. And nobody's talking about it. Okay. We talk about cancer. I see all over Facebook, like, it's like cancer sucks. Fuck cancer, they say. And they and I agree. I agree. But also, fuck alcoholism, fuck drug addiction. Let's be honest, because it affects every family in the entire world. Okay. Every family does not, I mean, I have not met one person that doesn't have somebody in their family that has this disease. I've not. And it might be a long lost relative. It might be their child. It might be their spouse. It could be an uncle that was 100 years ago. Whatever. Everybody's got somebody. But we don't talk about it like that. No, because alcohol is such a part of society. It's so okay. It's so okay. You can get, which I think is so insane. I was talking to a friend's daughter. It's actually somebody I work with's daughter. And she called me on the phone, and her mom keeps picking up and picking up and picking up. And the daughter is so upset. And she's like, oh my gosh, there's liquor bottles everywhere. And she cries and she calls me and she's like, I don't get it. Why did she even have me? Why? Why? And how many kids out there feel the same exact way? And a lot that I've dealt with. And she goes, "Do you know what the worst part is?" And I said, "What?" I said, "Well, how does she get it?" That was my big question. I was like, "Wait a minute. I don't understand how this person's getting it. Like, is she getting into the car while she's inebriated and driving to the liquor store?" And she goes, "Oh, no. Oh, no. You don't understand, Elizabeth." I said, "What?" She goes, "She can get it delivered." What? Oh, yeah. She can get it delivered to our house. You can be sitting there. I can't even imagine this when I was drinking, by the way. I don't know if I would have ever gotten sober. By the grace of God, seriously, by the grace of God, I got sober. But I think about it and I'm like, okay, so you're sitting there and you're drinking, you've had one bottle of wine, you're like, I need another bottle of wine. Now, me, I couldn't, it was like, what was I going to do? Thank God I did not go and rob my neighbor's house for alcohol. I did not do that, but I wanted it desperately. I wanted it when it was gone. But when it was gone, it was gone. There was not picking up the phone and saying, "Oh, can you please deliver me a bottle of Grey Goose? Can you please deliver me a bottle of this wine?" That was not an option when I was drinking. Today it is. How crazy is that? Is that crazy? I think it's crazy. I mean, you can get it anytime you want. And you can have this feeling and go, I want to have a drink. I want to have a drink. Now, let's say you have a couple days. Let's say you have a couple years. Let's say you have a couple decades and you're sitting there in your house and something really bad just happened and you are spiraling, which I feel like I was a week ago, almost. I guess it was actually a week ago yesterday. I was spiraling. I was spiraling out of control. I was going down a dark, dark hole. And I was like, oh my God, terrible, terrible, terrible. And I would never even, because I have enough sobriety behind my belt and because I really do work this program and I have people to call and I'm not scared to talk to somebody, including my husband and say, you know what? Oh my gosh. And I did. And I sat down and I told my husband everything I was feeling. But if you're alone by yourself and you have this disease and you can just pick up your phone and go, oh, I'm just going to go to Uber Eats and say, bring me," or DoorDash, bring me," or what's that other one? Oh my gosh. I think I did it over. I did it over. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm sure you're sitting here listening to it probably. Oh, Instacart. I know Instacart, you can do it as well. And I can't imagine going, oh, I'm going to go to Instacart and I'm going to get a case of my George DeBuff Beaujolais Village. Okay, now I'm really dating myself if you're listening to this because George DeBuff was an old winery. I don't even know if it's around anymore. And his Beaujolais Village was a red. Oh my gosh. And I used to drink it all the time. But I can't imagine if I could do that. Like, it's the world setting us like, seriously, maybe you need to get off your ass and show somebody your ID and actually go to a store if you're gonna pick up a drink. I don't think you really need to have that I don't think you need it delivered to your house. I understand if you're having a party and if you wanna go to your local liquor store and say, "I'm having a party and I need to have this many cases dropped off because it's too much for you to carry and it's too heavy." But to think that you need it delivered to your house, with your food, no, no. I think there has to be like some sort of like, I know we're all adults, but like, do we really need to have alcohol delivered to our houses? Like, seriously, like food? I understand having food delivered because you have to have food to stay alive. You do not need alcohol to stay alive, okay? You just don't. Now, you do need food, but you don't need alcohol to stay alive. But they have it there as an option. Kind of sick, I'd say, kind of sick. So if you're trying to get sober, I'd get rid of all those stupid apps. If you need to go to the store to get food, get off your butt and drive to the store. Sorry. Maybe you can go and order all your groceries and have it put into your car while you're sitting in the parking lot. That's pretty good. But to literally have to have it delivered, I don't know. Alcohol? I don't know. Do we really need that in our society? What are your thoughts on that? Write to me, let me know. Because I think it's a little weird. I think it's a little weird to be like, I need to have alcohol delivered to my house. I can't enjoy my hamburger and french fries without a beer. Can you imagine? I don't know. It's like when I was talking to these girls at my hair salon, and they're like, I'm like, do you think you could go 90 days? And they kind of gave me this hairy eyeball, like, well, my birthday's coming. That's what one of them said. My birthday's coming. I can't imagine giving up booze for my not be able to get drunk on my birthday. Okay, seriously, let's put that into context. Wait, you can't imagine celebrating your birthday without alcohol. Hmm, really? Now, I could say and be completely honest in what I'm going to say here. I'm going to say this. This is a true, honest statement of mine. I cannot imagine having a birthday and not having birthday cake. That I totally agree with. Like my husband one year did not. I mean, I think he brought. I think he didn't get me a birthday cake, and I was livid. I was like, "Wait a minute! You didn't get me a birthday cake? Are you kidding me? I want a reason to eat cake and icing. Okay, I want a sugar high. It is my birthday. I am marking this huge celebration. I want a cake." That I can see, okay? Because I look forward to my birthday cake. I'm just one of those people, and I love having birthday cake the next morning with my coffee. I just do. It's my little celebratory thing I do every year on October 5th. And October 6th, I have birthday cake for my breakfast. And it's ever been since I was a little girl. I remember when I was little, My sister's birthday is literally 5 days before mine, and so my mom would have birthday parties for both of us, like, on the same day, and I remember her, like, one year getting my sister's favorite cake and not my favorite cake, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? You're not even gonna get me my favorite. I understand us having to have a birthday party on the same day, but are we gonna share cake flavors? No. No, I want my own cake." That is my thing. But I really need to get drunk and not remember my birthday to celebrate my day. That is really important. I can't imagine turning a certain year. I'm going to be 50, I'm 6 this year. Oh my gosh. I understand maybe 21, okay? Like 21 is kind of a big deal. You're like, I'm 21, I can legally drink, but I know a lot of people that got sober before their even 21st birthday. I have two girls I work with that got sober before they were even 21. And they've stayed sober for literally almost one of them almost has 18 years, and the other one will have 25 years this year. And neither of them drank legally. Okay. And they still had a party and they still had a great time. I've had a party every year of my anniversary and every year of my birthday. And guess what? Nobody gets drunk. Isn't that amazing? Is that crazy? Like this girl looked at me like, it's my birthday. I can't imagine having my birthday and not getting drunk. I'm like, okay, I don't want to shame you, but that sounds kind of crazy that you need to put poison into your body to celebrate your birthday. Okay, you need to get blackout drunk to have a birthday. That's fabulous. That's great. I mean, because we know that this person's not a teetotaler. She's like totally hungover. She went out big. She didn't remember the night before. Like, so her birthday's gonna be the same thing. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out big. I'm not gonna remember the day before. I'm not gonna remember. I'm not gonna remember my birthday. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna be fabulous. I might wake up in the morning and not know who it is and sit next in bed with me next to me. I might not, but that's what I want to do. Celebrate my birthday. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody here, you guys, and I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I'm just trying to put it into perspective because does that sound normal? I mean, to me, it's like I think back when I was getting sober, I was like, what am I going to do? I literally was focused, and I don't think for 1 year, I think maybe 2 years, maybe even 5 years, I was focused on the fact that I wasn't going to be able to drink at my daughter's wedding. It wasn't even my son's weddings, by the way. It was just my daughter. Like, when my daughter gets married, I'm not gonna be able to have champagne. I focused on that for years. Years of my life, I focused on how I wasn't gonna be able to have a glass of champagne and celebrate my daughter. And now, fast forward, if I said to her, do you think I should have a glass of champagne when you get married? She'd probably be like, are you insane? They all have said to me, like, are you crazy, mom? There's no way. There's like no way. My kids want to protect my sobriety so much. It's amazing. My youngest son, in fact, I was like, I want to go on I'm going to go on this vacation. I'm going to invite this person to come with me. And he was like, I don't think so. I said, why do you not think so? He's like, that person drinks, mom, and they're going to want to go to vineyards while you're gone. And you're not going I don't think that's a good idea. So I don't think you should ask that person to go on vacation with you. I was like, okay. I mean, I probably wouldn't go to the vineyard. I'd probably rather go shopping. And I mean, I've been to vineyards when I was drinking. It was fun, great, did that. But in my previous life today, am I going to go somewhere and go to a vineyard? Probably not. No, maybe if there's good artwork there or they have beautiful gardens that I can learn something about to do in my garden, I would go. But to just go see grapes and drink, no, obviously I'm not going to go. No, not going, not going. It's not going to be my thing. No, no, no. And he was watching out for me. Isn't that amazing? He was like, "No, that's not a good idea, mom. I don't think that's a good idea." I was like, "That's cool. That's cool." It's crazy because this trip that I'm going on, which you guys are going to obviously be a part of, I'm praying they have the internet there. I'm praying if they don't have the internet, I'll just record it and hopefully I can send it to Caroline and she can put it up to you guys. I'm hoping that it's going to, because there's internet everywhere, so it should work in Bosnia, right? Because I'm going to Metagoria. And I'm hoping I'm saying that right. It's in Bosnia. It's where they saw the Mother Mary in 1981. And aborigines, I've seen them. There's been like, I think over 30 million people who have been there. They built a church and they didn't know why they were building the church so large. And I'm gonna be really honest and tell you guys, I don't know much about it. So I'm one of those people that's kind of like when the door opens, I just keep walking. Do I need to go investigate it too much? Not so much. I'm just gonna go and see what I find. I'm like an adventurer that way. I'm gonna see once I get there what I learn and I'm gonna share it with you guys. But it's gonna be really amazing. And I haven't even thought about if there's gonna be drinking or not because I have a room by myself. I did make sure of that. I did not get a roommate because I didn't have to, thank God, and there weren't enough places to even have a roommate because I was the last person to go, so I had to get my own room, and I think God watches out for me at times because I don't wanna go live with some stranger that I, in the end, find out is a huge heavy drinker, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what am I doing in this situation with this heavy drinker?" I wanna be able to go and do my stuff and not have to worry about it. Does that make sense? But does that sound like, I pray that they're not gonna, and then the second part of my trip in Italy, I'm gonna be with JF, and we all know he's sober, so that's no worry. I'm gonna be with my man who doesn't drink either. And, I just think that it's ironic. I mean, I watch these housewives and they just get so black. By the way, I'm churning, just so you guys see this. Um, I'm going back to how alcohol is so celebrated and how dark it is and how it fills you with lies and darkness. I always say when I was drinking, I feel like my soul was like a stained glass window in an old church and it was filled with soot. And the longer I stay sober, that stained glass window is totally getting clean and light is just flying through like all different colors of light. And it's really interesting because, and I signed this. I think I've told you guys this, but if I'm boring you with this, you can turn me off. If not, you can keep listening. I have a bunny behind me. I have two bunnies. Actually, you can't see the other one because of my mic, but I'll move it over a little bit. But if you're watching me on YouTube, I have two bunnies behind me. I just put out all my Easter decorations because I said to my husband, I said to JF, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Easter. We don't have any of my Easter decorations out. And I have no kids at home. I just put it out for me. So I have carrots and I have bunnies everywhere. And it's just for a couple weeks, but I just love it because I just love Easter. And so when it was, I told you guys this last week, but I signed up for that Halo app and I've been doing it and I haven't missed a day. And I think I'm on day 25 or 26 today. And with this app has just taken me down this road that's just amazing. I was telling somebody this morning. I haven't been a practicing Catholic probably, if I were to be honest, since I was a kid. I mean, I always went to church. And when I came home from college, I would go to church for the holidays and I would go to the Catholic church with my family. And then when I married my first husband, father of my kids, we got married in the Catholic church, even though he was Episcopalian. My mom worked whatever magic she needed to work and made that happen because it was important to her and my grandmother. And then I baptized all three of my kids in the Catholic church. And soon after that, so 1999, I don't know when the first case came out about the priests and the little boys. And that was like, it filled me with fear, which I'm sure it did to a lot of people out there. And I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. So I left the Catholic church and I raised my kids in the Episcopal church. So it's been, I'm just going to say 30 years that I've been really probably a practicing Catholic or longer. And here I am. I've been listening to the Halo app and I'm going to Medjugorje and where Mother Mary is. And it's so amazing. It's like when you're sober, all these things that you didn't think were possible. It's like if you stay awake and you stay sober, you notice things, you feel things. You're like, am I crazy? You're not crazy. You have these feelings and you're like, wow, wow. Like, I remember when I was first sober, I just wanted to tell everybody in the world, like, this thing of sobriety, like, if you haven't jumped on board, freaking you're crazy. Like, get on board. This sober train is amazing. Like, oh my gosh, do you know how much I missed of my life? I'm 37. I have 3 kids. I've traveled all over the place. I don't remember most of it because I had to get drunk because it was my birthday or it was somebody else's birthday. And I missed so much. And I was like, I got to tell everybody, come on, you got to get on board of this. And it's been such an amazing ride because the longer I stay sober, the more awake I become. And the more I'm like realizing so many gifts. And when this offer came to go to Medjugorje, I was like, this woman asked me to go. I've never met this woman. I don't know who she is. I've never seen her in real life. I'm going to get to meet her. And by the way, she's coming on the podcast next week. I think I'm going to be airing it. And I talked to her and I was like, the way I just felt speaking to this woman, she used to be a social worker. Now she does these pilgrimages to Medjugorje. And she's like, do you want to come? I think we have a couple spots left. It's leaving April 8th. And I was like, I sat there and I was like, this is a crazy thing. When you're sober, you can make these choices and you're like, you don't sit there and go like, oh, did I make the wrong? I mean, yeah, sometimes I obviously do have that questionable, but like, this is something that I took 24 hours. I slept on it. I talked to my husband about it. I talked to one of my best friends, Amanda, about it. She's been there 5 times. She's like, you have to go. And JF said, can you just sleep on it for 24 hours? And so I slept on it. I prayed on it. And all I heard was, yes, go, yes, go, yes, go. Like, if you're hungover, you're constantly, at least when I was hungover, I was always like, oh my God, what did I say? What did I do? Oh my gosh, who did I hurt? Oh my gosh, obsessed with me. There was no ability to hear God or other people. It was like that wasn't, I couldn't do it. It wasn't relevant. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, oh my gosh, I couldn't make decisions that were always in my best interest. And today, if somebody, obviously the cost was something that I had to look into. And luckily, I had points. And that's the one great thing about credit cards that have points because you can use them for air travel. And I was like, okay, it's a free plane ticket and it's going to cost this amount of money to go for 10 days. That's not that much at the end of the day. And this is an experience that's going to get me closer to God. I'm going. And I said yes. And so I booked it. And then I thought, well, I'm over there. I've never been to Italy. Let's do it. And he said, okay. So he got his chip ticket for it was cheaper for us to fly to Italy than it is for us to fly to New Mexico. Crazy, but it is. Not to digress. Because I don't want to get into the money because the money brings up a lot of fear in a lot of people. And I get it because it's been one of my biggest fears and biggest things for my whole life has been money. But I don't want to go into that today because we're almost at the end of the podcast today. But I do want to say that I'm a seeker. And if you're listening and you're like, what should I be doing? Seeking. I mean, I think my first thing that I realized that went and truly was like seeking for myself and not for anybody else was my journey with sobriety. That was my first time. I went to college and all of that, but that wasn't, I don't know. I felt like I kind of did that as a check on on the checklist mark. And it wasn't really, it's like, oh, you're supposed to go to college. So I did it. But when I reached out for help to get sober, that was the first time I did something that I was like, I'm going to do this. It's scary as heck. Nobody really is doing this around me. None of my friends have done it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to get sober. I have relatives that have gotten sober but no real good friends. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And that was the first thing I did that I've done to like on my seeking. And through it all, more things come up, more things come up. I mean, like, there's so much I want to learn. There's so much I want to see. It's insane. It's crazy. And there's how much time left? I don't know. But while I'm healthy, which I'm so grateful for my health, and that I quit drinking and that that desire to drink has been taken away, I can do all of these things because the reality is, when I was drinking, I was in my own private hell. Because the reality is that all I thought about was when I was going to drink, when I wasn't going to drink, how much I was going to drink, how much I wasn't going to drink. Was there enough? Was there always going to be enough? And I haven't had to do that in a long time. And it's really interesting in that when I fell to my knees August 14th, 2006, and said, God, please take away my craving for alcohol, he did. And I haven't had to want to drink. There might be other destructive behavior that I want to do, but it's never drinking. And I can still make decisions when I'm smoking. And I haven't smoked in a long time. Thank you, God. That's been removed. But when I did smoke, I knew that it wasn't going to get me behind the wheel of my car and maybe putting people's lives in danger. And today, I just look at people and in all true honesty, if you're out there and you're battling this disease, I am sending you prayers. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you light. And I want you to know that you are not alone. I started Busy Living Sober. I started doing talks in my town, which nobody wanted to come to. And then somebody said, you should start a podcast. And that's when I started this, almost 7 years ago. And my message is like, please, I don't want you to hurt from this. Don't believe it. Don't believe the lies. If it's hurting you, you have an opportunity. I know it seems hard. It's not as hard as taking care of a child that's very sick. That would be very, very hard. Or having to climb up a mountain, feed your children by climbing a mountain and bringing them water. If you didn't have clean water, that would be hard. But this drinking thing, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I'm going to tell you that it's going to be uncomfortable and you're going to have to redefine yourself. That is true. You are going to have to take time to figure out who you are, and you are going to have reactions, and you are going to cry, and you're going to be mad, and you're going to go through all those, the whole process of grieving, especially if you're a problem drinker like I was. And you're going to walk through those steps, but you have to know this: you will never, ever have to hurt from alcohol again if you make that choice. If you make that choice. If you say, you know what, it's not working for me anymore, and it's so amazing now, 2024, there's so many people that are on this journey that are realizing that it's a big fat lie that alcohol is the answer, because it's not. It's a thief. It steals everything from you. Don't let it steal anything else from you today, you guys. Please, please don't let it, because it's just like, ugh, do it for you. Do it for you. You're worth it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, or you want to write to me, please reach out to me at Elizabeth, ELIZABETH, at elizabethchance.com. And chance is CHANCE, just like take a chance. And until next time, everybody, keep getting busy, living sober, and subscribe to my channel. And if you like today's episode, share it with your friends. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy. Keep it up one day at a time, you guys. It's all we got is one day at a time. And take care. Bye.